It's that easy. It's that easy. Probably on mute. That's my guess. Who knows? We'll see. Forgot to turn OBS on this morning. Oh, what a day. What a day. I don't see my audio there. Let's see. Yep, we got audio. We're good. All right. Morning, morning, morning. Oh, it's a beautiful day we're having here today. I forgot to do this real quick, so just a second here. Go ahead and edit that. Throw that link in there. And edit this one. I should have done this before the show, but never know who we're gonna get. Do this, but we'll see what happens. Why can't I save it? Temporarily wait a moment and try again. Like that? I can do that? Oh, perfect. Oh, well, whatever. Okay, so if you're on YouTube, there ain't nothing I can do for you this morning. Oh, you'd like to join this broadcast, though, over on Facebook at the moment. I'll try again on YouTube here in a second. The link should be in the description if you just back off. It should be fine for you. See if I can save that now. Oh, I don't get why it's not working. StreamYard just saying no thank you. So we haven't had our revolution yet. Oh man. So I went live last night hoping that my nobody nothing platform would spark a word or two into some ears of some people that may have an actual brain noodle thought to, change this form of government. But no, what we ended up getting was people looting and rioting. Um, Man, like if there's one thing I'm gonna give this government today, it's that they sure do know and count on the fact that the American people are pretty stupid. I mean, and I know that you're gonna be like, "Oh my God, you're just like it's political suicide to say this," but no, it's think about it. Every single time this shit happens, or something to this effect happens, instead of taking it and making it the catalyst that changes the form of government, the government goes and does what they do. They don't. They're not gonna worry about some looters and rioters because guess what? That's what insurance companies are for. You could burn down auto parts, Target, cars, whatever. You can do all that stuff. They don't care. You can kill innocent people in the streets. The law enforcement does it. They don't care. So the thought process then becomes, well, why don't they care? Well, that's because they've kept most of you, and I emphasize most, not all, they keep most of you stupid. Because if you walked to the Capitol building and burned it down like you did the Target, they might think twice before they kill somebody again on the streets, the government. But you don't. You go and burn down a Target and an auto parts store where I'm sure like the employees are like, well, I guess I'm going to transfer over to Lake Street now because this street's one we burned down. Or they're going to get some time off. But at the end of the day, government keeps you stupid. So instead of going and burning down their buildings, you go and you loot a Target. You bust up a Starbucks. Like that. Nobody should be giving you credit. Nobody should be giving you credit at all. Again, if you'd like to join this broadcast, if you're just tuning in, link is in the description. You'll get backstage. I'll see you there, and I can bring you on. Today, before I get back into this, just a friendly reminder, I will be talking to the excellent and awesome and one of my libertarian, I want to say role models, Larry Sharpe today. I'm really looking forward to that. Larry is always a great person to go to, even if you don't know him, just to watch his content, just to see that work and effort. So I can't wait to be a part of that show today. Drinking coffee, libertarians drinking coffee live is what I believe it's called. But well, Mr. Sharpe, should you ever see this, I innovated coffee in a conversation. That's why we're doing coffee in a conversation day to day. Because, of course your opinion matters to me. Just it matters, just not to me. So, excuse me. Back to the issue at hand here. So here I am last night thinking, I'm watching the stream. I'm watching Mr. Saxon, and he's doing what I called revolutionary bingo, right? Called it revolutionary bingo, and I was sitting there going, okay, well, if you had journalists get shot by beanbag on your Revolutionary War card, mark it now. If you had burned down a target, mark it now. If you had fatal shooting, mark down. And the thing is when I was like, oh, fatal shooting, I'm like, is it officer down? And then I heard there was an officer down. And I was just like, wow, like, what is going on? And then I was like, no. I watched, what I did last night? I watched 3 episodes of season 5 Hoarders, because that's apparently all Netflix has. And I got to tell you, I think Linda's got dementia. And there's some of you that'll be going, what are you talking about? Who the hell's Linda? Yeah, Linda's got dementia. Yeah. So that's above some people's pay grades. You know what? Let's try this today. Watch this. Oh, that's the little one. That's the little one. I need to get a new overlay color for black here. Kind of wanted to match this right here. But I guess there's comments I didn't even see. Let's see. Let's see here. Bill says, people know cops. They see the usefulness. We have a pretty good bead on the Second Amendment. Yeah, but your Second Amendment, I like taking guns first and then going through due process second, because due process is really inconvenient. So if you can just go to the court and take the guns first and then go through due process, all I gotta say, Bill, is I hope that you're not voting for Donald Trump, because that was a quote from Donald J. Trump, that he likes to take the guns first and then go through due process, because your due process is inconvenient to them taking your guns. But then you got those Republicans are like, whoa, CJ, whoa. And I'm like, listen, man, I can play you the video straight from Donald Trump's mouth, and of course I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad guy, because I pointed out what Donald Trump said from his own mouth. And I'm sorry that I offend you if you are a fan of the as Adam calls him, Cheeto Jesus, Captain Bone Spurs, or Cadet Bone Spurs, whatever it may be. I am not. I gotta remember, it's this way. I am not a Trump fan, says Bill. And listen, Bill, I said I hope you're not. So that's another thing. But back to Minnesota real quick. So if I say, hey, man, we need a revolutionary war, not a civil war, because civil war would be like me and the rest of the South Dakotans fighting Minnesotans. But to have a revolutionary war would be South Dakotans, Minnesotans fighting the government together. And with that, I am very honored this morning to be joined by a man that whose work I highly respect in our state party. And if you have any questions about how to become a libertarian or how to make an impact in the party, I would suggest you reach out to this man, Mr. Devin Saxon, the communications director for the Libertarian Party of South Dakota. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
So you were kind of reporting all night last night through red giant black letters, red bold boxes, black letters, my revolutionary bingo. You were my bingo caller.
Yeah.
So as you were reporting the shit you're hearing on the police scanner, I'm going, oh, well, I'm almost to a bingo, I'm sure. We're going to have something.
Dude. How could you not get the bingo? There's even like lady in wheelchair beat up at Target. Even if you had that on your bingo card, they would have been collected.
Hold on. Wait. I'm trying to imagine this. So
Yeah,
at that
I posted it on my Facebook page.
Okay, hold on. I can
The
get to
video.
I can always get to a Facebook page. That's no issue.
Yeah. It's like the first thing I posted this morning.
All right.
42
So
minutes ago.
so first off, what time did you go to bed? Because you were posting.
Dude, I'm still tired because so much shit went down last night and I couldn't sleep.
And you've got to basically, I mean, you're keeping track of everything that's going down. You're sharing it to the state page. You know, you're sharing, well, at least all the relevant information to the state page. You're you know, you're keeping everybody posted. You've got, like I said, one of the top libertarian pages in the party, just for the size of it. And you go, man, like, this is where I'm getting my news from the next revolution. It's from the libertarian page. So what am I looking for? What am I looking for on your page here? I mean, we can just kind of go through it. I mean,
go down to 43 minutes ago.
43 minutes ago. 43.
Yeah.
And, you know, we can do it like this, where we can go, where am I going?
44
minutes ago?
Right.
Okay.
Dude, check this.
Hang on. Hold on. Hang on. Let me rewind it and give you sound here. I think I forgot to give sound. But that's okay. We can do it like this. Share audio. Boom, boom. All right. Then let's go ahead and watch this stabbing people. She's stabbing people.
She's stabbing people. Hey, hey, hey. She got a knife. She got a knife.
Dude.
Get out of here. She got a knife. She's stabbing people.
Dude, she's stabbing people. And then she got hosed down by a fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
Like, this is not... Okay, so... like, I was trying to tell you, and I think this is where you might be right. That this is on the verge of a civil war. This is that fine line between people being stupid and people using this opportunity to do the right thing. So what we see is people versus people.
Mm-hmm.
That's civil war. That's rioting. That's on the cusp of people fighting people. And then you see these militia groups, and I hate to play the identity politics card, Mr. Saxon, but when I see a bunch of black people looting buildings and then I see a bunch of white people arming to protect their stores, I go, this is also racial. And I hate to say it like that, but that's what the media does. They go, look at these black guys busting out windows. Look at these white guys holding their guns. Like,
black militia people.
well, I get that, and I'm understanding that there's gonna be but that's the mainstream picture. That's what the mainstream's gonna make people with stupid vision go, oh, look, white people want to shoot black people. What's that?
There were no people in the media.
Right, and then there's a media journalist hit by a beanbag, and you go, man, like, what happens when we have the first media that gets killed doing this stuff? What happens when we get the first media that what happens when we get the first media that actually gets some real shit on camera? Like, and then I heard they're using live blockers, which they used out at Standing Rock. Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Better. I can't hear you at all.
I'm getting feedback. I need to go.
Hang on, I think it might be that. Try that. Is that better?
But
Because you're going. This is how it works with StreamYard. Is that if I don't mute my screen while it's just us on, you'll get feedback of you because my screen's playing your audio back to you. I don't know how that's one thing that StreamYard is working on, but so what happens when a journalist gets something real on camera and you just go, man, like, I mean, that's, well, they're using internet live stream blockers. They're using the ability to shut down people's broadcasting capabilities. And they did that at Standing Rock too. And then what happened? Obviously we know what happened at Standing Rock. They started violating rights left and right.
Mhm.
But here our good friend Nikki says revolution requires community and a sense of purpose. I worry that not enough people understand that. And that's where my point was. Nikki hit the nail on the head there, that this is, if everybody, remember when we were having the convention, I'm like, man, I want to go to the Capitol building. When I think of injustice and atrocity, I think, why not go to the building where it all happens from and burn that thing down? I don't go, man, I want to go loot a pair of shoes and a TV at Target and burn it down. Like, that's contradictory to the point. And then it just starts to, you hear the talking points come from each respective corner. Oh, well, this is not how his death should be honored. And, you know, oh, look at the stereotypes, you know, like, oh, look at not a pair of work boots in sight, but they're looting, you know, like, I've heard all the little jokes that come from this. The same, like, you could rinse and repeat Ferguson commentary on this from some of the, but then again, you know, you have somebody like a Terrence Williams, who, again, I respect the work of, huge Trump supporter, but still a funny man. You know, he's out there doing exactly what he's supposed to do. Help get your fellow people in line in your circle. And I'm like, nah, man, we need to get those white guys with guns and those black guys that want to kick in and loot and rob. And I mean, I'm sure there's multiple races on both sides, I'm sure, but I'm saying from the mainstream media look and what they try to do with the racial divide, we got to think like the enemy. I, in my humble opinion, want to see everybody go to the Capitol building, drag these people out from the buildings where we have erected this beautiful guillotine and just watch them squirm. I mean, if you stop the problem, like, it's like, man, if I told you, like, hey, man, my engine's making this, like, clanking noise every time I drive. So what I did was I changed out my hubcaps. You're like, that's not going to stop your engine from clanking if you change out your hubcaps. It's not going to stop your government from shooting and killing and murdering people on the streets if you go loot a Target. Like, there's no...
Hey, yeah, play that video I just sent you.
Okay.
It's at this spot where they're talking about what buildings should be burned down.
All right. You got it.
Let's see if this works here.
I got to get it audio here.
All right.
Y'all at the wrong places, man. Take this shit up there to Cup Foods. Cup Foods has been extracting money from our community for years. They don't care about black folks. They own the whole fucking block. They are up there monopolizing. They came up there to try to hand out some water like they were doing something for the community. They don't give a fuck about us. They're protecting that store. We're out here burning down this fucking street. Burning down. Where we gonna go grocery shopping in the morning? Where you gonna get your baby Pampers in the morning? Take this shit up to Cup Foods. Y'all doing the wrong thing. I just had to go knock and bang at people's door down at fucking Foot Locker because they burning Foot Locker down and there's people upstairs.
Oh shit.
That shit's crazy. Stop busting these gallons of milk. That's not what this is for.
I just said they're
Real
taking
life
shoes and
death of people out here
TVs.
like it's a game. This is crazy.
Anything else? What does justice look like for you, for George Floyd?
Hey, justice for me looks like us getting our everything that we owe to us. It looked like those 4 officers getting indicted, getting life sentences. It looked like anybody else who knew who was in on it. It looked like us us getting some justice. Just look at what our city is doing. We're hurting. We're tired of this. Going all the way back to Tyrell Nelson and everybody else from before. Every single officer needs to be charged, needs to be in jail, and needs to do their time like we would. We wouldn't be sitting out here waiting to get arrested. We'd be in there fighting for bail right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a good night.
You too. Peace.
Okay, so with this, what I gathered is she's basically saying what I was saying. It's like, I don't get why you're doing this.
Yeah.
You know, this is like our community. This is where we go buy diapers. This is where we do, like, why? And that's where I'm saying, like, if we could we need to push, like, this is where you'll never see the Democrats and Republicans, and that's where most of these people's mentalities are. They're manipulated by either side of that coin. And then I look at it from the libertarian perspective, like, okay, we have the non-aggression principle, and this is clearly a sign that the non-aggression principle has been violated when you have a dead man on the street, and it makes you go, okay, are these the people fighting back and trying to get justice? And then you're like, well, but motherfuckers, you're robbing a fucking, like, Foot Locker. Like, that's not justice. Like,
on the street.
I want people to go burn down the Capitol buildings. Like, that's what's gonna change this shit from happening. You know? But too many people are gonna. Wait, where did you send it? To Facebook?
Yeah, I'm gonna send it.
Okay. And I mean, I'm sure that there's people watching all of this.
Things can be
Oh my
replaced,
god.
can't. George Floyd, Big Floyd was fucking murdered. This is gonna keep happening until something fucking changes.
I
This
love
shit
the
will be replaced
Unicorn
in a
Riot
fucking
guys.
year.
They've
He's
earned
still
my
gonna be
respect
gone.
for sure.
Rest in peace.
What's that?
They seem this is just all gonna be rebuilt.
No, that's the thing, is that it's gonna take a long time to
Yeah.
recover. I mean, look at this. Like,
All these businesses and stuff
Hold
are
up,
from
hold up.
and
hold
now
up.
they're
Where was that at? Hold on. Like, we gotta go back here for a second. Like, hold on. That's burning. Where was it at? There. That right there. That is why they don't fear you. That right there is why they go, oh, yeah, they're burning down a Foot Locker. Insurance will pay for that, no problem. But if all of you that are angry at this injustice started walking even one herded mass towards the Capitol building with I mean, imagine it like South Dakota here. Aubrey, hey, turn that down, please. Imagine if this was South Dakota, Mr. Saxon, and we watched a guy, let's say you and me watched a guy get murdered. Well, first off, I don't think we would just watch a guy get murdered. But let's say that had happened in Pierre. I'm saying, I wouldn't tell you to go burn down Home Depot. I'd be like, you know that bitch Kristi Noem? I know where she lives. We're going there. And you know who would be meeting us? These guys with guns and everything they need to defend her until we're dead.
Yeah, I remember Ferguson. They had like the Disney protests and falls, and organized the protest to be on 41st Minnesota. It was like a business intersection, but nowhere near downtown Constitution. And it's like, why is your protest going to be organized someplace across the city? That's nowhere near protesting. You want them to stop you for those times. Like wouldn't you run courthouse? I don't know.
And again, there's nothing. This doesn't solve anything. I mean, it creates a visual where we can go, yeah, I mean, you did what we wouldn't do, but I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know. Let's see here. I think Nikki's been on a point today. That's censure in an ultimate form, and it's suppression of rights guaranteed, but unfortunately it's becoming the norm for them. And so many people are okay with it because it's not happening to me whatsoever. And I agree that there's some apathy in this world, Nikki, for sure. that people don't care. Obviously, I think we can care a little bit. We pay attention, but there's really nothing I can do from Eureka, South Dakota, to stop people in Minneapolis from burning down a Foot Locker, or whatever it is. Target.
Yeah, apparently, 3 miles of street. Every business inside was
They're saying you have feedback again, Mr. Saxon. My apologies. There we go. That's good. You should be good now. Yeah, no, I look at this and I go, what a wasted revolution. What a wasted opportunity. And it just goes to the education level of the people. And it goes to show that government has kept people so stupid that they would much rather destroy their own city than destroy the government that created the problem to begin with. I mean, it makes you sad. Well, it makes me sad, at least. I go, man, if we would have just had a stronger libertarian message, would these people not have burned down their city and known where to go to change their government? Or are they just gonna stay stupid and just continue to do this? I mean, this is. I mean, I've never seen it to where a city burns like this bad. I'll give it this. I mean, and
yeah, apparently that's an affordable housing condo unit or something that's been under construction, and it had flammable materials in it.
And so they just said, "To hell with it, light it up and watch
Somebody
it burn."
did.
Somebody did. But see, here's the thing: is that the amount of damage that's been done in this riot, because I won't call it a civil war yet until I start seeing like people like murdering people in the streets, at a cyclic rate. Until then, it's just a riot with some deadly incidences. But and which is crazy because those guys out there like, yeah, we're starting a riot, and we're like, yeah, but really, I mean, we're watching you guys. Look at it, he's dancing in the streets. Like this is what bugs the shit out of me the most. Is like, I mean, they're jovial. Like
all the liquor stores got looted, so everybody's probably having a huge block party right now, just drinking and shit.
But why not walk to your Capitol building like they did in Wisconsin?
St. Paul is the capital of Minnesota, and it's like, why didn't you? Why did you burn down Minneapolis?
Hang on, wait. I feel like I'd be missing an opportunity here if I didn't do this. I'm gonna pause this because it's again Unicorn Riot. Nothing but respect for them. I mean, I watched a few highlights of their work yesterday, and who's the host that was the I didn't catch his name.
Yeah, I didn't catch his name either.
But yeah, dude, he was just like handling it all like a champ. Like, I mean, just in everything, just like, yeah, Mike's yours. And people just, Governor's Mansion in St. Paul, Minnesota. So for those of you idiots out there that unfortunately, I guess I gotta go to the web here. For those of you that don't know, you can go to this lovely place right here called the Governor's Residence, okay? And you can burn this motherfucker to the ground. And that's what, I mean, look at this. They don't care because you're not touching this. You're not touching their precious Governor's Mansion in their like, this still stands. They'll let you burn down the Foot Locker all day long. Just don't go up to their Governor's Mansion. I feel like I got to keep saying this like over and over again that you should probably go to the place where, I mean, it's located at 1006 Summit Avenue, St. Paul, Minnesota. and if you go there, I promise you, like as we showed you earlier, those people in with guns, they're gonna make sure that you don't make it to the Governor's Mansion. They'll let you burn down the Target. They'll let you burn down. They'll let you burn down anything they want. Loot a liquor store. They don't care. But I promise you, you start walking towards that Capitol building with a bunch of drunk people that just robbed a store and burnt down a Target, and you're going to get beanbags, pepper sprayed, and possibly shot to death.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy, Mr. Saxon.
Look, I still don't know why they haven't arrested the guy. Like, I don't think this would have gotten this bad if they had just arrested him. Just arrest
All four
them.
of
Arrest all four of them.
Yeah.
Arrest them.
And I explained it yesterday.
Put them on video that they've been arrested. Boom. People chill out. People are like, okay, we're not being ignored. But then it's almost like they did this on purpose. Like, let's not arrest them for 3 or 4 days. Let's let people get mad and break shit. It's like, why would you do that? What kind of leadership is that? And why would you give somebody else special favors when anybody else who would have choked somebody on camera like that would be arrested instantly?
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason. I don't even care if there's a police union. Just police unions shouldn't be able to protect people from being incarcerated. Like, that doesn't make any sense. A police union is not above the law. A police union can just file lawsuits, which they would probably lose. Can you imagine a jury ruling in favor of a police union when somebody was strangled on camera and then fired from their job rightfully?
And you see it from every angle.
No. What are they afraid of? What are they afraid of? They're not going to lose that lawsuit. They're going to win.
Well, I mean,
it's like there's no reason not to arrest them.
I mean, would you cry, Mr. Saxon, if you watched the governor's mansion burning instead of all this? I mean, not that you're crying now, but I mean, but do you see it like I see it as a wasted opportunity to have done something different?
Oh yeah.
Like we could have.
There's disputes on like who shot first and stuff. So I'm still trying to figure out find the video where the riot happened versus when it was just a protest.
Right.
But last night was when it really started. But then tonight was when it got like to where they were burning buildings down. Because last night they were just smashing windows, which is, not that big a deal.
So the shot heard around the world was on April 19th, 1775 at the Battle of Concord, which began the American Revolutionary War and led the creation of the United States of America. The phrase has subsequently also been applied to the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in 1914, which began World War I.
Yeah, they're Boston Tea Party hashtag is trending on Twitter right now. So there's some people who are pushing this to be like a Boston Tea Party event, and I mean, it's kind of similar when you're. I'm sure that tea was private property that they were throwing off the ships.
It was. Yes, it was.
There's some similarities, I suppose.
I mean, I'm not opposed if you want to buy a bunch of tea and you own the tea, but I mean, I guess you would say it's a little civil disobedient for sure, and it would probably call into question.
Play this guy. Let this guy talk. This is good.
Like the Rodney King riots. This is history we're witnessing right now. We got coronavirus we're surviving, big punk ass Donald Trump, and a fucking riot in 2020, all of that? What? You can't tell me 2020 ain't been one of the craziest years that you've ever experienced in your fucking life, right? Listen, Minneapolis, black people, white people, Asians, Mexicans, Native Americans, we all need to stick together against all these motherfuckers. Not all white people. All white people ain't bad.
For sure.
They can't wait for the Mall of America. They want to talk about, they drove a car through the Mall of America? Hey, they drove a car through the Mall of America. God damn it, I'm about to go give me all the Jordans. Holla at me, follow me on Instagram. Kinglish English. Kinglish_English. I'm an artist and all this shit, but listen. Hey, yo. Look at that. Hold on. Zoom in on that. Look at that. That's like 5 buildings on fire. And you got something to say for the people? Hell no. She said, I don't know y'all don't know me. Hey, we out here live, man. What street is this?
This is Minnehaha Avenue.
Whatever the fuck he said. We out here live, man, on Minnehaha. And ain't a lot of ha-ha going on. The police is scared. You ain't never seen this shit happen. Look. What the police at? Tucking their tails because they cowards, they yellow bellies. This is when you protect and serve these nuts. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. Where this going on YouTube?
It's on right now. YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
Man, my mama and them could be watching this. Hey, man, you didn't say that, man.
Tell them you all right. Tell them you love
No,
them.
I'm good, though. I'm out here drinking Douce and apple juice. What? I'm on the news. Hey, the liquor store open, man. We about to go loot. Hennessy on us. Hennessy on Minneapolis police. That's what was on. Peace up.
My gosh. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
That was a
But
hoot.
yeah, somebody posted an old video of somebody driving through a mall that's like a year old, and then
Oh.
kind of circulated a lot. So people thought that was happening at the Mall of America, but that was actually fake news.
So, do you think there'll be a looting of the Mall of America by the end of the night then?
On Twitter, there's talk of it already. I just
Okay.
woke up this morning. I was like, all right, let's see what happened. And after I fell asleep for like
Okay.
4 hours, and Mall of America, Boston Tea Party. Those are like the hashtags going down right now. I'm like, oh, it's not going to be good. They better arrest that guy.
America.
But another thing about that condo fire is there's residential houses that it got so hot that all those houses around it caught fire too. So it's like it's not just businesses being burned down now. Now it's spreading to residential areas, and it's like, man,
Oh man, anti-police.
this is not looking
brutality
good.
sold.
This is not looking good for anybody's cause, really.
That was September 14th.
I mean, it doesn't make the pro-police people look good because they're not arresting their fellow murdering police officer. And it doesn't make the protesters look good when homes are being burned. Like people, like what do they have to do with it? They're just trying to live their lives, and it's like they probably support the cause too. Some of the homeowners, like
As I'm
you know.
looking here, I'm not seeing anything for a riot at the Mall of America in 2020 so far. I wouldn't put it past the stupid of the world to do this. But I mean, like I said, I feel like it's such a missed opportunity to say, why not go actually change your government? You know, like find out where people use this as that catalyst to say, where do you stand on this? And if they're like, well, we need an investigation, well, that's all the due process I need in this moment to weed out who's crooked government and who's pro freedom. That's it. Like, it's a litmus test at this point. I mean, we've all watched these videos. We all know there's multiple angles. People will turn this into whatever they want, but I mean, at some point, we're going to realize, and I hope we realize in America, that this government is not here to protect your rights. It's not here to make sure you have life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It's here to protect its corporate and state donors and sponsors. And and I mean, think about it. Is there a quote from Donald Trump about this yet?
Yeah.
There is? Okay, so he does have one out officially. Okay, so let me see here. What would I say then? Donald, I mean, unless you have
I
it.
think he said something about they need to arrest that guy. I mean, we'll see if he's any updated. But it's really hard to differentiate which videos are the riot and which videos are the 2020 online convention because they're so similar.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'm gonna type in Donald Trump and George Floyd, because that's really what's his last name, correct? Floyd. Okay.
Yeah, George Floyd.
Let's see what happens when you type into Google Mr. Floyd's name with Donald Trump's name. You get him nothing. He's just threatening Twitter. All right, he's threatening Twitter. Comments. Okay, so hold on. Tampa Bay has his comments right here. Let's see here.
A very sad event. A very, very sad event.
Should the police officers be prosecuted, sir?
Well, we're going to look at it, and we're going to get a report tomorrow when we get back. And we're going to get a very full report, but a very sad day.
We're gonna get a report, Mr. Saxon. We're gonna get a report.
God, the government just loves reports.
Yeah, we're gonna get another. Did you get the memo? Yeah, hold on, wait. I was looking for the cover sheet. I forgot the cover sheet, so it didn't go through today. So no.
Yeah.
This is what's
I'm
gonna
gonna
cause. That's
Play
what's
this
gonna.
video I'm sending you.
Okay, that's what's gonna cause. That's what's gonna cause people to go back out into the streets tonight. Oh, great! Here we go.
This
Gang
is
violence to a community that has been victimized by it. Brentwood, New York, in the suburbs east of New York City.
What's that?
Tom Taylor is there.
Skip this reporter guy.
The president came to Long Island to talk to law enforcement officers about a gang known as MS-13 that he says has neighborhoods under siege.
They like to knife them and cut them and let them die slowly because that way it's more painful and they enjoy watching that much more. These are animals.
This venue was chosen because near the Suffolk County Community College where he spoke, 17 gang-related murders happened over the past 18 months.
It is the policy of this administration to dismantle, decimate, and eradicate MS-13. We will find you, we will arrest you, we will jail you, and we will deport you.
President Trump even had words of advice to law enforcement on how to handle these arrests.
Please don't be too nice. Like when you guys put somebody in the car and you're protecting their head, I said you can take the hand away, okay?
Oh.
Yeah, that's what
Outside the college.
Oh.
So it's like he's playing both sides. It's like a classic politician.
Oh.
Here, give me
wow.
your feedback, man.
Oh, sorry, man. Yeah, that's a StreamYard thing. I gotta remember that if you're using your microphone on your laptop, is that what you're doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then what that does is your speaker and your microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
gotta get headset or something that works.
yes, sir. But yeah, I see what you're saying in that. So now what you've got is you've got a president who's like, hey, if you get a little rough, you get a little rough.
Yeah. And
And
that's literally what happened and led to somebody getting killed, and now there's a riot. So it's like, man.
what do you do?
Yep.
And it's not like, but then again, I look at it like this: is every time I posted something from you, Mr. Saxon, it never fails that within a day or two, the Republican narrative response comes trickling from the regurgitative mouths of their party.
Mhm.
And so by the time you've raised a question, it takes a few days for them to talk amongst their circles and how to respond
Yeah.
with logic and reasoning to it. And you know, at the end of the day, here we are with a president that says do this in this manner, and then it calls it. I mean, you're right. He's a classic politician. But I wanted to point out something else because, you know, we can't forget our girl Jo.
Oh yeah, Joe said something about. I don't know if she said something about the riot yet, but she said something about needing to arrest those officers.
Right. And you know what I appreciate most about what Dr. Jorgensen has said here, because you know she knows. Like you're just like she knows.
She knows.
She's watching this too, and it's just like at some point. Oh wow. Let's see here. You guys are gonna notice that, unfortunately, and some of you might notice I don't like Jacob Hornberger's page. Oh well, but anyways,
You don't like the Liberty? Oh, you do. Never mind. Sorry.
No, that's Libertarian. I think that one is. Which one's that? That's Libertarian Party of something else. Kentucky. Yeah, my favorite poll riggers. But yeah, here we go. George Floyd was murdered by the Minneapolis Police Department. Plain and simple. Like, this is what I'm gonna love about Jo is Jo already knows. She's not gonna beat around this bush with this psychobabble bullshit that the Republicans and Democrats are gonna do. She's just gonna go straight to the point. The 4 officers callously disregarded Floyd's pleas to stop and warnings that he was suffocating. This is inexcusable. These officers must be held criminally liable and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which we broke down yesterday, I believe is third-degree murder. Because unless you're going to prove to me that they went out that day with the intent to do it, we're now falling back into the non-intent, and the difference between homicide and manslaughter and murder. The third-degree murder charge doesn't need intent. What it needs is I should probably do it this way. What it needs is well, you know what, Minneapolis police chief, and you tell me if where's his speech on it for George Floyd. You listen to these words and you'll tell me that this isn't third-degree murder on the steps where that very first video was of him speaking on it. And it was outside the... Here we go. I got it. Now listen to these words and tell me this isn't third-degree murder.
To give my heartfelt condolences to members. What occurred last night is certainly very tragic, very sad. When Mayor Fry appointed me as chief of the Minneapolis Police Department, I was very steadfast and strong on what our department vision, values, and our culture change would be moving forward. And one of those pillars is sanctity of life. We know that there are inherent dangers in the profession of policing, but the vast majority of the work we do does never require the use of force. So again, my condolences, deepest condolences to him and his family members. This situation and tragedy last night, I've been obviously up all night and reviewing the information that I have to make the decision that I'm standing before you today with many of the community leaders behind me. Before involved former employees, I've made that decision this afternoon. This is still an ongoing criminal matter that the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension is investigating, as well as our FBI. And so all of our actions, they have an impact, and they certainly can have a consequence. I was very fortunate to hear from many of our community leaders today and how it's impacted our city. And public trust continues, and it must be the cornerstone of how the Minneapolis Police Department is going to build that trust and change our culture. So again, I stand before you in the city of Minneapolis here to say that our deepest condolences. The vast majority of the men and women who proudly put on this uniform each and every day understand the important role and relationship we must have with all of our community members. And when tragedy strikes, it absolutely strikes to the core, and we should all be impacted by this. So with that, I'm going to...
All right, so that's really all he's got there, Mr. Saxon, and let me mute that real quick for you. So I wanted to point out something that he said is that their job is to protect the sanctity of life, and I know that this is not like the most go-to, but you can read it's not first-degree murder, it's not second-degree murder unless you can prove the intentional killing. But what I wanted to go to was the difference between these three is third-degree murder, voluntary manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter. I think we'll rule out voluntary manslaughter. They could argue that manslaughter charges may be imposed rather than murder charges when a defendant commits a murder due to being provoked by an intense emotional response. But this is called a crime of passion. Would you call this a crime of passion, Mr. Saxon? Unless you're going to prove to me that he and they all enjoyed doing it. I mean, like... It's kind of
Well, the one that was on his neck seemed to enjoy it.
He did, but this is where I think that you can bump it to third-degree murder. So third-degree murder falls between manslaughter and third-degree murder charges.
Do you think that's why they haven't arrested them yet? Because they don't know what kind of murder charge to give them?
No, it's not first or second because unless they're going to say that they can prove there was an intent to do this. So I think that's off the table. But I think that we got to look then between the difference between involuntary or third-degree murder. It's one of those two. I'm leaning towards third-degree murder, and here's why. Because voluntary manslaughter is essentially a killing based on negligence, mistaking a person as an animal while hunting or shooting him or her, child neglect that results in a death, vehicular homicide. That's not really in this realm. So, but then you read what's third-degree murder, and third-degree murder is not based on having the intent to kill. So there is murder charge without the intent to kill part in there. And now this is where it's really important. Third-degree murder is often charged as a depraved heart or mind crime. This charge can arise when a person fires a gun into a crowd without intending to kill someone, for example. Murder is charged when a person is killed and the defendant is indifferent to the sanctity of human life. And if you listen to what the police chief said, these officers were fired because they didn't protect the sanctity of life.
Yeah.
And that's what hinges. So playing that chief with the definition, in at least in this context, without having without indifference to the sanctity of human life for that many minutes, for what was it? How many minutes was his leg on that guy's neck? How many minutes were they pressing down? 8 minutes, 3 people, all the pressure, can't move. Of course you're gonna kill the guy. So I mean. And that's where they might bump it to a higher murder charge. Your training might tell you you shouldn't be doing this. And then at which case it makes you go, it might be a second-degree murder. Second-degree murder can be an intentional killing, but it is not as serious as first-degree murder. Second-degree murder can be charged when a defendant intentionally kills another human being, but the murder is not premeditated.
Could be second degree.
It could be second-degree murder. So now we're a long ways away from manslaughter because we can at least get third-degree murder out of this. Second-degree murder may result when a person is killed without an intense emotional response or impulse, or kills out of an intense emotional response or impulse. And that impulse, that word impulse, is your training. Your training made you do that. You consciously go, I'm trained to subdue this guy. I'm going to put my neck and my leg here with the intent to subdue him. So we might be going into an intent. We might be going into the intent that your training, you used your training to a point like, I mean, I know as a Marine Corps veteran, if I go out and I just fight some random dude, I'm going to get a higher charge than just an assault. You know, they're going to say, hey, man, the government trained you to kill people with a spoon. You know, like, so, I mean, these law enforcement officers were trained to subdue. And it's like I had former NYPD police officer Michael Gilligan on here yesterday, and he was explaining that, you know, that this is you know, that this training is what this is how they're trained, this is what they do. I mean, I'm gonna have to paraphrase his words here, but I mean, again, so additionally, killing someone by a drive-by shooting, killing someone intentionally while intended to inflict great physical harm to the victim. I mean, you could say that they knew for 10 minutes that that this would cause damage to some extent. But to get first degree, so I could say we could balance between second and third right now for sure. But to get to first-degree murder must be the most serious and heinous of murders. Due to this classification, not all murder charges are filed as first-degree murder. First-degree murder charges in Minnesota have aggravating factors. Sometimes first-degree murder is based on the identity of the victim. For example, killing a spouse after continued domestic abuse, a child, a cop, a judge. So wait a minute. Whoa, time out. You can kill a cop and a judge and you'd get guaranteed first-degree murder. But if a cop kills you, you're guaranteed to be like, maybe he'll get voluntary manslaughter, and two white dudes in South Dakota will argue back and forth on which murder charge we should get. You know, like, dude, there is a separation of classes in law for sure. So, what do you think it is, Mr. Saxon? First degree, second degree, third degree,
What did the cop that shot that Australian lady get?
I wouldn't know. What would a guy Google?
Let me look it up here.
Yeah, if you got a link or something, that obviously helps. But you know, my thought again is how do you differentiate between? I mean, when it's written in that language, like, oh, you kill a cop, you kill a judge, you get instant first degree. But if a cop kills you, we all argue about whether or not they should get involuntary or third degree murder charges. Like, it's different punishment for sure. So,
all right, here, I'm sending you the link.
Okay.
You got third degree murder charge is what he got.
And so this is, you sent it to Facebook, right?
Yeah, Facebook Messenger.
Well, I guess, Nikki, if you could explain why I'm a deadly weapon. Oh, I get it. Yeah, I hear. I get what you're saying. Now that it's in context. Aubrey, why are you handing me a root beer at 9:35 in the morning?
Yeah.
Hey, whatever. Okay, so not now. Let's see here. Cop to be shot his bride. Cop who shot bride to be is charged with murder. Oh. All right, Aubrey, you can have a little.
Yeah, this is Minneapolis too. So this is a good case study.
So this guy shot this woman.
Yeah.
Why didn't we burn down a Target? Light
He
up
got
a
arrested.
Starbucks. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, so she's white. He got arrested, and he's a minority cop. So justice was swift and quick.
That's what it appears to be.
Well, I'm just playing into the identity politics of the two-party duopoly, to where their propagandist brains are and the way they think. Minnesota cop who shot and killed an Australian bride to be, not even an American, was charged with murder and manslaughter, according to the reports Tuesday. Officer Knorr, who allegedly killed a 40-year-old Justine Diamond of Minneapolis in July, was booked. Now, what did they end up giving him? Was it how long was the?
I think he got 18 years.
So, and now does Minnesota? I don't think they have the death penalty, do they?
I'm not certain.
I think that I think Minnesota abolished their death penalty. Let's see, because that's what people are going to be calling for. Let's see. Minnesota Death Penalty Information Center. Okay, so the government's like, hey, man, we got this whole website here dedicated to the death penalty. It's been abolished since 1911. Oh, so they're not going to get the death penalty for their actions today.
Yeah.
Or for their actions a few days ago. So, I mean, really, the taxpayers are going to put them in a cage where they sit there for their time and think about what you've done. And then how much does it cost to keep a prisoner every day in Minnesota? Add that to your tax debt. And this is why I think there's a more efficient way to do this, but I'll leave my biases there for the moment. So yeah, I don't know at all. But yes, Mr. Dingle, I can see your comments, sir. But we've just been talking here, so I haven't really been paying attention to comments. So, Mr. Saxon, what do we do? What do you predict? You got any bold predictions for today? You think they're going to loot down a Hardee's or mud stomp a Taco Bell?
I hope they make an arrest of the police officers. And if they don't, then I predict another evening of rioting.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I guess we just wait and see. I would hope that if I could get one message out to these people today, it's please go burn down your Capitol building. Stop burning down Target and Walmart and all that and looting the Mall of America if you're planning on doing that. Go go burn down the building where all this shit starts from. That's what's going
I
to
don't get why didn't they try to burn down the cop's house at
well, you saw the picture.
Yeah. Like I saw that they're outside this house and I saw that there were cops protecting it, but when I looked at the downtown Minneapolis stuff, like that amount of people could have easily overwhelmed those police officers that were protecting his house.
So how do we get the message to these people in the streets to say, hey, listen, you're doing it wrong. There's no benefit to this, that they will watch you burn every square mile of that city as long as you don't touch the government buildings and as long as you don't touch the officers' buildings. How do you not tell the people, listen, stop what you're doing in this, like you've had your riot, now go have your revolution. And you do that by going to your Capitol building and doing all that stuff you were going to do to Target to them. Ransack their offices. Go find your tax building and burn their records to the ground. You know, do something historic and meaningful out of this. Don't just go and loot the Foot Locker. I mean, that's just not going to do nothing, Mr. Saxon. I mean, if this was South Dakota, man, and and Pierre was burning, I'd say, no. Let's go burn the Capitol building down. That'll piss Kristi Noem off like no end. She loves that beautiful mansion she said she'd never live in. And then, by the way, she's like, well, maybe we'll put up a wall and a fence around it so that in case, my riot boosting bills go through and people want to burn my house down, there's at least a 6-foot fence across the whole perimeter. And you're like, you said you weren't even going to live there, lady. Like, I remember that in the debate with Kurt Evans, they were like, Kurt, are you ever going to live in the governor's mansion? And I laughed hysterically. I was like, there's no chance in hell he'd ever live there. And then there was Kristi and Billy who were like, Billy's like, yeah, I'd probably live there. And then Kristi's like, no, I'll just drive around South Dakota my whole time. And then she gets elected and she's like, oh, well, maybe I will live in the governor's mansion. And maybe I will erect a wall. And you're just like, Jesus Christ, lady, we're in for a long 4 freaking years. But yeah, I'll tell you what, man. I think that there's a day coming where hopefully that message of stop burning Targets and start burning government buildings would be the most appropriate thing we do as people.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't care if you go and burn down a Target because, or as I call it, Red Walmart. They don't care. They'll watch you do it. But I promise you, you want to watch them arrest those 4 cops like tonight? I'd say if you were smart rioters and looters, if you want to watch your government arrest 4 murderous cops, it's 9:42 right now. If by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the governor's mansion was surrounded by people with pitchforks and torches chanting, we want justice. When do we want it now? Whatever you want to rally, justice for George, like whatever it may be, I promise you that governor's going to have to say something. That governor, I mean, imagine if we had 1,000 people outside Kristi Noem's house right now with torches and pitchforks saying we want justice. You think she's just going to sit in there and watch, The Voice? You think,
oh, look, it's another parade.
Yeah, right? It's another parade. Or you think she's going to do a live video like, hey, guys, we're doing game night with our family. And no, there's a motherfucking riot outside your house. So that's why it blows my mind again for those that I want to make sure I get this out because again it's right. Minnesota, what would it be? St. Paul, Minnesota governor's mansion. Go to your governor's mansion. It's very simple. Okay. This one is located at at 1006 Summit Avenue, St. Paul, Minnesota. And again, if you go there, the governor is going to have to say something. Where's the actual riots at right now? Do you know?
Like
They said Minnehaha, right? How far is Minnehaha on this map from
Dude, I think it's the 3rd precinct police station is where this like the focal point of everything
Here's
was.
Minnehaha West, okay?
Yeah, Minnehaha and Lake, that intersection.
And I got Minnehaha and Lexington, Minnehaha and Lake, Minnehaha and Hamline. And is it? I mean, it might be east or west. Who knows? But either way, this is the place that you need to go. Okay, it's the governor's mansion, and you can even loot the Starbucks on the way to let them know that you're coming. You know, you could, I mean, demolish it. Well, don't you do the UPS store? I got a package I'm expecting. Please don't do that. I mean, you can go and do this. Like, it's there. Stop. There we go. See, look. You see the little picture that pops up there? You know, like this. Oh, where'd it go? Either way, go to your governor's mansion. Go burn that fucking place to the ground. And I promise you, before you even get there, the governor's going to go, whoa, wait a minute. Hold on. You're telling me you're going to burn this place down if I don't get these 4 people brought to justice? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, and this is where Kristi Noem would be like, oh, CJ's riot boosting right now. And I'd be like, you fucking right I am. Her riot boosting bill was declared unconstitutional. So you bet your ass right now I'm going, go burn down your governor's mansion. I promise you these fuckers won't do it again. Imagine if I became governor of South Dakota and you guys are watching me just do coffee and a conversation while people are getting murdered in the streets by law enforcement and the city's burning, and I'm just like, la 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 la. No, you'd go right to my freaking door and you would demand justice. So until I see the governor's residence burning to the ground, this riot is nothing more than a joke to me, Mr. Saxon. I mean, I hate to say it, that it's you know, I that's not a disrespect to Mr. Floyd's to George's memory. It's just that at some point these riots become so useless and used by what I see is like the Republicans going, oh, see, look, looting a Foot Locker, but they're not getting the work boots. You know, and it's all these little jokes they made for Ferguson that they're just going to rewash, repeat, re-rinse, and I've already seen it. And, you know, they're going to do the same, oh, well, you know, if they really wanted justice, they'd be doing this in a peaceful manner. It's like, no. They see the racial divide. They know what's going on. Nobody's stupid at this point for how this was motivated and what happened. Everybody's seen every angle of it at this point on the internet that's paying attention. So, at the end of the day, you either go and you solve the problem, or you just become the problem. And that's what these riots are going to turn into. They're going to turn into a problem and not a solution, because it's going to get out of hand, and it's going to what's the word I'm looking for? Be all for nothing. South Dakota Governor's Mansion. So for those of you that want to start a riot in South Dakota, the Governor's Mansion here in South Dakota is
I just sent you a tweet of some reporter from the Star Tribune walking down the street. It's pretty intense.
All right, I'll grab that.
Morning.
Real quick, let them know if you want to riot in South Dakota and you want justice and you want to go cause a stir. Don't go loot a Target in Pierre, or Walmart. Go to 119 North Washington Avenue, and you too can get a little protest on or whatnot. Don't if you decide to burn down the place, call me first, obviously. You know, that way I can document it thoroughly and enjoy it with you from afar. Get my marshmallows ready. Watch Kristi Noem squirm as she's like, why are you doing this to me? I just got a parade the other day. Like, yeah, well, you can't fix stupid. So
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Saxon mask. What? This is Twitter?
Yeah, it's a Twitter video.
Is this the morning after?
Yeah, the morning after.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Imagine if
hold on.
that was the governor's mansion.
Oh, imagine. Oh, wrong button. Sorry, man. Imagine if this was Imagine if this is what the road to your governor's mansion looked like, instead of it being Target and this and that and the other. Like, that semi is burned to the ground.
Yeah, it is probably like a $100,000 semi right there.
All because they wanted to keep 4 murderers protected. And it just makes you go, man. Imagine if they were walking up to that fire truck, and it's the governor's mansion. You know? I mean, it looks like a scene from a movie. You know?
Yeah, dude.
I mean, again, that's just insane. It's a repeat video. It's only a few seconds long.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, man, there's no doubt in my mind that if we were to focus this energy into the right way, this wouldn't be a wasted opportunity. So, but anyways, Mr. Saxon, I got to get going here. But as always, I like to give my guests the opportunity to say whatever they want at the end of the time. So, Mr. Saxon, the floor is yours for about 30 seconds or so. Tell America what you want to say, sir.
No, I'm good. I'll pass on that this time.
All right. Well, next time you'll be more.
You, CJ. I'll be on again.
Yes, sir. We'll talk to you later, Mr. Saxon.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming
have a
on,
good one.
sir. Cheers.
See ya.
All right. I have to put people on the spot, man. That's just, hey, man, my platform's your platform. Yeah, tell the world what you want to say, whether you know it or not. But hey, Mr. Saxon is a man whose words matter, and I understand that. You can't just throw a communicator like that on the spot without. I was hoping he would have brought up the fact he's running for Public Utilities Commissioner at the very least, and to say check out Saxon for Puck. But at the end of the day, don't worry, because Nikki and I got you pretty simple there. So, but all right, guys. Well, that being said, I hope that you will again stop burning Target and start burning governors' mansions and government buildings, where this problem starts with from the get-go to begin with. Have a good day or don't. I guess she isn't here to say it, huh? Have a good day or don't. The choice is always yours.